In this chapter, we will cover analog and digital connectivity in Asterisk by going through two modules for each type of technology. We'll start with a discussion of theory and concepts related to the technology, and follow it up with a demonstration of how to configure DAHDI devices to use it within Asterisk. Before we start, it's important to discuss how DAHDI and Asterisk work together to make use of external hardware interfaces. We'll learn more through the rest of this module. You may recall from the Downloading and Installing Asterisk chapter that DAHDI is a package offered by Digium that includes Linux device drivers for various telephony interface cards. The configuration modules in this chapter assume that you have DAHDI installed and that the DAHDI service is running on your system. If this isn't the case, please follow the steps in the Installation from Source module of the Downloading and Installing Asterisk chapter again. Make sure you run the make config for the DAHDI Linux Complete package so that the drivers are automatically loaded by the Linux kernel. Even the simplest telephony interface card is surprisingly sophisticated and flexible. Because of this, it's unrealistic for a device driver or other software to automatically know exactly how you will use the card. So, you'll have to specify configuration settings in a few different places to make it all work. We'll look at real-world examples in the configuration modules of this chapter, but we want to give an overview of the basic model of device configuration first. You can think of the relationship between a hardware interface card and Asterisk as a stack, with Asterisk at the top and the physical device on the bottom. Asterisk cannot talk directly to the card because it's a user-land application that doesn't know much about the details of the Linux kernel or how to talk to hardware. This is where DAHDI comes in. Actually, DAHDI has three different pieces that work together to make a card's functions available to Linux. First, each model of DAHDI interface card has its own Linux kernel module that is written to implement the basic functionality of that card. These modules are not the same as Asterisk modules. Instead, they're Linux device driver modules, just like for a video card or network controller. The Linux operating system loads pluggable modules for the various pieces of peripheral hardware it supports. Secondly, there's a common DAHDI.ko kernel module used by all DAHDI devices that provides some of the basic functions most of these devices share. Depending on the interface card used, there may be a few additional DAHDI modules that each have DAHDI in their name. These modules serve as an interface between the card and the Linux system, but they don't directly configure the card. Configuration for the DAHDI devices lives in the file etc.dahdi.system.conf. The configuration present there is applied by the utility DAHDI_CFG, which is installed along with the rest of the DAHDI package. One final piece of the stack is necessary before Asterisk can talk to a DAHDI interface card. The Asterisk channel driver for DAHDI, called ChanDAHDI, must also be configured. This is done in etc.chan_dahdi.conf. DAHDI devices have to be configured separately at the device driver level and at the Asterisk level because different types of configuration are applied at each level. The device driver configuration tells the card how to set up the basic link to the far-end device, but it doesn't know much about the telephony applications that are used on the device. For instance, the device driver doesn't usually directly know or care about the caller ID on a phone system, or even whether a particular channel is being used for a voice call, fax transmission, or an arbitrary data stream. This type of configuration is handled by Asterisk via ChanDAHDI.conf. We'll see practical examples of the configuration of DAHDI's system.conf and Asterisk's ChanDAHDI.conf in the upcoming modules. First, we'll present the fundamental concepts of each technology type, starting with analog telephony.